Hey you guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Cynthia, and you're probably wondering who I am and what this channel is going to be about and why I'm doing a YouTube channel. Just to give you a quick background story for those who don't know me, I am 30 years old. I was born and raised in Union City, New Jersey, and then moved to Lebanon, Pennsylvania when I was 12 years old and lived there till I was 28. And I'm now 30 years old and living in Florida. And I will kind of go into where each place is and how my life was at those points when I lived there eventually in my other videos. But my channel is very special to me and it's going to be like my baby. My channel is about mental health and I want to make weekly mental health videos on different mental health diagnoses and disabilities. And the reason that I'm interested in mental health is because I personally struggle with mental health myself. I have been diagnosed with major depression and generalized anxiety and social anxiety for quite some time now. And it's something that I want to be able to help people that also have the same diagnosis. And what I mean by that is, I know mental health is something that's taboo in society still after all these years. A lot of people don't like to talk about mental health with other people. A lot of people don't know how to open up to friends or family about what they're going through, or you might feel like you're annoying your friends or family because with certain mental health disorders, you are always worried, you're always stressed out, always thinking, so you feel kind of like a burden to other people, and I know what that's like. So I wanted to make this channel where it's a safe environment for people to just have someone that they can relate to and also be able to talk to. My comments are going to be open for feedback, for questions, just if you want someone to talk to. I also am going to be discussing my personal life. So every time that I bring up a topic, I'm going to talk about what that is and then what I went through with it, how it affected me, what I went through, how it affects me now as an adult. And I also then, at the end of the episodes, and again, sorry, I'm really nervous. At the end of the episodes, I'm going to put helpful links where you can go and get help if you're experiencing one of the situations that I'm talking about. I'm also going to put phone numbers or apps that you can talk to someone through if you don't want to talk on the phone or you don't want to go see someone in person. I know some people are shy like me, or with the pandemic, you don't feel comfortable going somewhere and getting help. So I just think this is something useful. I was fortunate enough that I educated myself and I sought counseling for my mental health issues, but it was not easy at all. I know there's some people that are not working, so they cannot afford to get help, and it's very hard to find free resources. I've been through that myself. I know there's people that are working, but with insurances, you can have copays and you might not be able to afford it, or you're just embarrassed. You don't want to talk to someone about it, or you're not ready. Some of you might not know that you have something. So, this is very important to me. I just want to be able to help people with what I've been through. And I just kind of want to put a disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or anything like that. I hope to be. Right now, I only have my associate's degree. I've been procrastinating for a very long time getting my bachelor's because I love school, but I'm just nervous that I'm getting closer to the end. I'm nervous. I want to get the best grades. So I've been putting it off for a really long time, but I'm definitely going to go and finish. And it's very important to me that I do finish school because my long term goal with this YouTube channel and with my degree is that I want to become a counselor, I want to become a therapist. And I think this is a good way to network and meet people. I know with the pandemic, we kind of had to find new ways to have a source of income. And I'm not saying this is going to be my source of income. What I want to say with that is that normally when you go to counseling, you go again to someone's office, you go in person, you talk. But with the pandemic, a lot of businesses shut down. So I was thinking, well, if this is how our life is going to be going forward, what can I do to still help people but be available? With electronics, we do a lot with texting now, FaceTime, videos. So what I want to do is I want to start this channel as, like I said, a weekly segment. But long term, I want to, when I have my degree, I want to be able to offer counseling services with people that I meet through here. I want to be able to build a clientele and build it online. And then what I can do is I can work from home. And for example, if you want to talk to me, we can schedule an appointment, let's say a weekly appointment at such and such time. So that's going to be my long term goal, to be able again to build a clientele and then be able to help people that way. But my short term goal right now is obviously to get myself out there and also make these videos. And this is not just to help others, but it's also to help myself, and I'll go into that shortly. Again, if I'm rambling, I'm very nervous. I just learned how to put a backdrop. I just learned how to put a tripod, how to fix my lighting and all of that. So this is very new to me, and I will get better as each video comes out, I promise. So just to kind of give you a run through of the different topics that I'm going to talk about. This is, again, kind of hard for me because some of my family knows that I'm doing this, but some do not. And there's going to be a lot of topics on here that I'm talking about that are very, sensitive to my family, and some might not be happy with it. But I want to be brutally honest. And again, this is to help myself and to help people that are going through this relate as well. And I'm not going to be serious all the time. I know mental health is very serious, but it's not always bad. You kind of learn to make the best of it. You kind of learn that there is silver lining. Sometimes you're going to go through funny situations. It's not always going to be bad. So I'm going to throw some positive stuff in there too. Because if you're one of my friends, and my friends can tell you, my family, like, I get myself into a lot of crazy effed up situations that I feel like can only happen to me. So I'm definitely going to share the bad, the funny, and the good. So it's not all going to be serious, and some of it is like really TMI. And I'm not going to lie, I'm super nervous because where I'm from, Lebanon, is a very small town, very judgmental. So I am really nervous about making this video. I'm scared of like comments that I'm gonna get, or just people like talking about me. So yeah, I'll kind of go through everything real quick. And again, this is just an introduction video. It's not like I'm gonna get really in depth. But so first of all, I'm definitely gonna talk about depression. That's the first mental health diagnosis that I realized that I had. And I realized that at a very young age. I always felt like I was different from everybody. And what I mean by that is I was always very, what it means, depressed. I was always sad. I was always angry, frustrated, down. It just felt like it doesn't matter what was happening. If I would be out with my family or I would be hanging out with friends, like nothing just made me happy. I would not be smiling. Like I would be there, but I wasn't mentally present. I just remember I would cry all the time, and I still do. I'm a big crier. I'm really, really sensitive. So I just always felt different from everyone, and it was very hard on my family because it's like they didn't understand what was wrong with me. Like, you can't make this girl happy. It's like everything is the end of the world to her. So I'm definitely going to brush up on what depression is, the different types of depression, because there is a lot. I'm also going to brush on anxiety. I have generalized anxiety, which is, again, I'll go into everything more in depth, but it's kind of a basic anxiety is what I call it, where you just worry about everything. I'm always, me personally, I'm always worried about anything. I'm worried about what tomorrow is going to be like. I'm going to worry about what I'm going to have for breakfast. Am I going to be hungry at lunch if I don't eat breakfast? Is my outfit gonna look okay for work? Like, I worry about the dumbest shit ever. Like, it's so stupid. And I'm sorry again because my family's gonna watch this, and I'm Spanish, so I don't curse in front of my family. But again, this is like me being me. Um, I worry about everything. It's terrible. And then my worst diagnosis, I think, out of everything is my social anxiety. That's also something I'm going to talk about. I have the worst social anxiety, and that's just basically anxious in any social setting or any social activity. And just to give you some examples, like, I personally cannot go to the store by myself, I can't go to the mall by myself. Um, it's bad. I feel like people are gonna look at me like, oh, she's a loser. She's at the mall by herself, or oh, she's weird. Like, where are her friends at? She don't have friends, or like, it's just really bad. And I think I started to notice it once I was old enough to kind of go out with my friends. Like in high school, we'd go to parties, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come, and when I'd get there, I would just like leave after a few minutes because if my friends were being social or just in a corner talking to someone, like, I felt like an idiot. Like, oh my God, people are gonna look at me because I'm sitting here by myself. Like, I don't know what to talk about. And it really hit me as an adult too because I would go to the bar or the club with my friends, and that's just the worst if you have social anxiety because even if you know how to dance, you don't want to dance because you think people are going to judge your dance moves, they're going to make fun of you. So anytime, and my friends will tell you, you can ask Sonia, you can ask Leandra, you can ask anybody. Anytime that I go with my friends to the bar, as soon as I see them somewhere else, like, I literally sneak off and go home because I just hate it. It's really bad. Like, that's the worst thing. I wish I could cure my social anxiety. I have fear of flying. Like, I'm just scared of everything. Like, I'd be scared to leave my house sometimes because in Florida, there's always alligators, there's snakes, there's, what are those things called? I swear there's bobcats. I don't know if there's bobcats in Florida, but I swear in my backyard I've seen bobcats. You're scared of everything. Something I'm going to talk about is moving to Florida. That's a big topic for me too. Again, I really bad depression, anxiety, and I'm very attached to my mom and my younger sister. So moving here and alone is big for me, scary. I didn't think I was gonna last a day here. This coming April will actually be 3 years, and it's not easy. I still have moments where I just want to pack my car and go. And cry, I get homesick, and I will go into the reasons why I moved here. But I pretty much sticked it out for myself to prove to myself, like, you have a mental health disability, but it doesn't have you. Like, you can't let it affect your life. Like, you are strong. You're gonna be okay. And something that I forgot to touch on in the beginning that it just came to mind. And again, like, I have everything written down, but I'm so nervous and scatterbrained. Um, the ways that I got help, and then I'll kind of jump back to my topics again. Sorry, I know that's a big YouTube no-no, but um, eventually, when I want to say, like, I forget how old I was, but one of my first jobs was at a counseling center in Pennsylvania. And if you're an employee, they give you counseling and things like that. So I was like, okay, I want to get that because I feel like, something's wrong with me. And so I started seeing a counselor regularly. And after so many sessions, that's when I was diagnosed with everything. So ever since then, I started receiving counseling. At that time, I wasn't taking any medication. It was just counseling, and that helped. Like, I felt better talking to someone that doesn't know me. Is kind of like it's like a neutral and stuff like that. So I didn't start taking medication until, damn. Oh, I forgot a huge story. So anyways, like, I'm gonna go into my depressive episodes and all that, but if you guys want some like juicy stuff that not a lot of people know, I went through a really hard time in 2016. I lost my grandmother to cancer, and I went through a really, I don't want to say a bad breakup, because it wasn't like physical or anything like that, but I was in a long relationship of 11 years. It was with someone that I met when I was 15, and we dated till I was 26. So, anyways, I was going through a lot with what happened with my grandma. I was going through this breakup and things, so it was really bad. And again, I'll go into all of this, but I've had several times where I wanted to take my life. Um, Luckily, I'm a chicken, I'm a pussy, and I couldn't go through with it. So back in 2016, there was one episode where I didn't want to live anymore. I just wanted to go home, and I wanted to down pill bottles. Like, I just was over it. And my friend at the time told me, like, you need to go get help. Like, I'm scared when you go home. I'm scared what you're gonna do. So I voluntarily went to the hospital, and I told them, I'm like, I'm suicidal. I don't want to be here. Like, I want to end my life. And they were telling me about a mental health facility in Lebanon called Phil Haven. If you're from Lebanon, you know Phil Haven. So I voluntarily admitted myself to Phil Haven. I think I was there like 10 days. And that's the first time that I took medication for mental health. And that helped me so much. Like, it was crazy. They put me on Prozac. Shout out to Prozac. I'm sure there's people that know what that is and take that. It's the best. I've been on it 2 different times. The first time was amazing. The second time, it helped me a lot, but one of the side effects of Prozac is it disrupts your sex drive. And the first time, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't getting any because I never did in my last relationship, but I didn't notice the lack of sex drive. But this second time, I really noticed it. So I like weaned myself off of it and just kind of stuck to counseling. Another thing that they gave me is trazodone, which helps with your anxiety, but it helps you sleep. Like, if you're really anxious, you have trouble sleeping. Well, some people do. Either you sleep a lot or you have trouble sleeping. And for me, trazodone is amazing. It just knocks me out. But anyways, again, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Back to Phil Haven. And I need a drink. I'm a little nervous, so I have some wine. Back to Phil Haven. I was inpatient there for 10 days. And it was kind of scary at first because I never experienced anything like that. I didn't know anyone who was ever inpatient. And when you go to Phil Haven, it's kind of like you see in the movie. It's like make you take off your earrings, any rings, any like belly button rings. You can't have shoelaces. You can't have anything. And you get like strip search to make sure you don't have anything that can hurt you or someone else. So it was very scary. You're not allowed to have a cell phone. You can only see people like family and friends at different scheduled times. But it was the one thing that saved my life, and I think that Phil Haven is the reason that I'm here today. It was just amazing, those 10 days being away from everybody, all your triggers, your friends, your family, society, electronics. It was amazing. And I was there 10 days. So what I really liked is that it's basically a 24/7 thing. There's always groups throughout the day. There's always therapy. You have therapy by yourself. Sometimes they schedule your family to come in for therapy. And what really helped me with Phil Haven, aside from like the staff was amazing, but it was like it felt like a college experience. Like, I learned so much more from the patients that were in there with me, honestly, than any of the therapy and anything like that. Like, I learned that when you hear other people's stories, like all of the stories are bad. Your stories, it's not an easy story. I don't want to say your story is bad, but what you went through is not easy. But when you are with a group of people and like you hear their stories, you stop and think like, oh shit, like my life isn't as bad as I think it is, or my life could be worse than what I think it is. So it's like I got to hear what other people went through, how they got over it or how they didn't get over it. So it taught me a lot. And that's kind of what I want to do with this, because like I said, I learned more from the people than I did from the staff. And I loved Phil Haven so much that I waited whatever the period of time was before you could apply there after being a patient. And I actually worked there before I moved to Florida. If I didn't move to Florida, I would have still been in Phil Haven. So shout out to Phil Haven. Like, they saved my life. I'm sure they saved a lot of lives. And sometimes it doesn't work for some people. So if you had a bad experience there, like I understand too. But for me, it was everything. Um, so yeah, I don't know how I forgot to mention that story, but what else am I going to talk about? I'll get to some kind of serious part that I don't know. I'm like stuttering because I'm nervous about this because this is a topic that is very sensitive to me that a lot of people don't know. Um, Only a few of my friends know, and only a few of my family members know. So some of them will find out from this video. My aunt, I spoke to her about this next subject today because I knew I was going to record this and I didn't want her to learn from the video. And it was hard. It was hard for me, it was hard for her. But I felt like this story, I have to tell it eventually when I get to that video because I know a lot of people have went through this, whether male, female, any gender orientation. One of the topics I'm going to talk about is sexual assault. And honestly, like I say sexual assault because it was rape, but rape for me is just like a big bad word. Like I feel uncomfortable saying it. It just it I've to me personally it just is more, it brings back so much more trauma. So like I like to say sexual assault, and again that's just me personally. But when I moved here a few months into me living here, I'll go more into the story again on another video. But I had a good job that I loved, and um, it allowed me, the position that I had at this job allowed me to be social, which obviously with what I've said, I'm not social because I'm very anxious. So I wanted that position because it put me out there. It kind of tested my boundaries, my limits. So anyways, I had this job, and there was an incident with one of my coworkers at the job, and I was sexually assaulted. I ended up quitting this job um, because of what happened. I did not notify the authorities because I was nervous. I didn't know this person like really well. I didn't know like who they were affiliated with, what kind of person they were. I didn't have like the balls to tell my family because I was scared they were gonna like make me move home. Um, I had been drinking, so I was ashamed, like it was my fault. I was scared, like my mom was gonna say, I told you, to be careful when you drink. Like I blamed myself, and this happened 2 years ago. I had to seek counseling. I had to go to the hospital the night that, well, the morning of that this happened, because it was like after midnight and all that. So I had to go to the hospital. They had to operate because of certain things that I'll talk about when I get to that video. So, not to make this depressing, but yeah, that's something that I know a lot of people deal with. Some people go to the 30s, some people don't. Some people are ashamed to talk to their friends and family. It took me a long time, but mine were very supportive. I'm getting like emotional. Mine were very supportive. So I just feel like it's a story I have to tell so that I can, help other people, maybe help you find the voice that I didn't have. And I'll talk about like everything that happened, what happened after, like if I have triggers. Um, what else am I going to talk about? Domestic violence. I never experienced domestic violence personally, like in a relationship, but my parents had a very violent relationship, and not, it was like my dad, and again, this is going to be hard for him. I'm not trying to bash my father. He is a different person now, but it's something that happened and something that is a part of my life and I have to talk about. My dad used to physically abuse my mom from, I'm sure, like I knew it was from before I was born, but for me, um, from when I was born, I remember being a toddler and witnessing this constantly until my mom finally had us leave in the middle of the night, like when I was 12. So I've witnessed this for many years. Um, So I'm going to talk about domestic violence, how it affected me, because it definitely has in relationships. I'm not proud of it, but sometimes I have a temper and I have been physical. Like, I've never been hit by a man, but if my point's not getting across or you're not listening, I have had times where I've been violent and I've sought help for that myself. So that's something I'm not proud of. So I can't judge my dad for something, that I've done too, but it's something that I want to talk about. Not to the not fun stuff, but like not boring stuff. Another thing I'm going to talk about, that this is one of the topics that I was really excited to talk about, is Tinder. And Tinder, I have a love hate with Tinder. Again, it's really hard for me to meet people. And when I moved here, one of my guy cousins was like, "Oh, you need to get a Tinder." That's how you really like meet people nowadays. But I don't know how I really felt about it at first, because this is like weird to talk about, because I know my family's gonna watch this. But I'm a very open person, I'll say, like adventurous, but I'm shy. So it's like the society nowadays is a hookup culture, and I'm all for, if you're my man, or I really like you, then okay. But like, if we're not together, that's not something I really like to do, unless I like really like you. And like the people that I have been open in that way with, like, we might not have been together, but in my head we were. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah. So anyways, I have a love-hate relationship with Tinder. I've went on some really fun dates, but I went on some that were a disaster, a shit show. I went on a few that I met some really great guys. There's two in particular. I'm not going to shout them out because I'm not speaking to them at the moment, so I don't really want to give them the acknowledgement, but they are still not present at the moment because, like I said, I'm not speaking to them, but for the last 2 years had been in my life. So it's like, it wasn't all bad, but I had a lot of guys that just wanted to hook up and whatever. People say, "Oh, that's what Tinder is for," but I don't know. I just thought, maybe there's some guy on there looking for a relationship. So didn't happen off Tinder. But yeah, I'm going to talk about Tinder. I'm going to talk about dating. Dating sucks. It sucks. I mean, it's not all bad, because there is a certain someone, so but it wasn't off of Tinder. It was like a organically thing. So I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about dating, and I don't know. Like, I thought dating in Lebanon was bad, but dating in Florida is like a different breed. Like, everybody's a rapper. It's just I'm gonna have to get into those stories, but yeah. And I'm also like I said, every week is gonna be a different topic. I'm also gonna talk about friendships and stuff like that, because I am not gonna lie, I do not have a good track records. I don't have a good track record when it comes to friends and females. I'll be very honest, and like, I think it's because of my mental health. Like, it's just, I don't want to say needy, but I have like a low tolerance for bullshit. And if I feel like you're not treating me the way I would treat you, then I'm like, fuck it. Like, I don't buy, we don't have to be friends. So, but I do want to work on that, because I have amazing guy friends, but it's like not the same as when you have girlfriends and you can, go out with them and stuff like that. But I kind of made this a little longer than what I wanted to for an introduction. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my friend Molly. Molly, I met her in Pennsylvania in school, and like till this day, we're still good friends and talk often. And she kind of inspired me with these videos, because she has a YouTube channel for makeup and another channel where she does ASMR videos, which are like relaxation, and I watch them all the time. They're amazing. So shout out to Molly. She was a huge inspiration, and again helped me, gave me like so many good tips. So I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I hope that you tune in every week when I make a video, and I promise you they're going to be fun. It's not just going to be depressing. And yeah, I'm really excited, and I just want to take the time and say thank you for you guys for watching. And again, it's gonna be fun. Um, Again, this is my baby. I just want to help people, and I hope you got at least some laughs out of this, some knowledge, and some interest. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.